Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel and this is Conditional Events. In the previous video, I talked about the operation field, which is only available for a function that does not return Boolean types. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add listeners in Runtime. So I'm going to open Visual Studio and here is my script. For this video, I add the iPointClick handler interface and then add the implementation for it. Now, to, to use it in runtime, all you have to do is add the conditional events namespace. Now let's just create event, conditional event. Now let's just the start function. To add, there's the add listener. It requires conditional action, which represents functions that returns Boolean types. So for this example, I'm gonna put a test true, which is right here, and also test false. You can also add logical operators for this conditional action, and by default the logical operator is conditional logical AND, but you can inform another condition logical operator. Let's just leave conditional logical AND, and last the logical NOT, which grabs the result of the function, and since in this case returns false, we make it return true, and if it returns true, it just returns false. So basically, I'm doing this test true and, which is conditional logical and, test false, and the logical not, which is this. Basically, I'm doing this. And now, in order to invoke these events, you do the conditional event invoke, and there you go. Now, let's just wait for. I have this object right here, which is this button right here. I'm gonna duplicate, disable the first, remove and add my script. Now I'm gonna hit play, and when I click this button, it's gonna trigger both these events. There you go. The result for this condition events is gonna be false, since I'm not. I'm gonna pause the video real quick. Now I put the debug.log format just to grab the result of the invoke. Let's play again. If I click, there you go. The result's gonna be true because test true and not test false. So the result's gonna be true. You can also add another listener, like let's see, string true. Since this function returns a string, not a boolean, in order to put it as a listener, you have to create a like this test string true, and I want to see if it's equals to true, like this. And let's see, test int let's see, 5 greater than 0. gonna logical operator, conditional logical and true. So in other words, I'm saying that I'm checking if test string true returns true and test int greater than 0. So since I'm using logical not, I'm checking if it's not greater than 0. So it's like a less or equal, or we can put in parentheses like this. So let's hit play, and there you go. Test string true returns true. Test int right here, if it's greater than 0. In this case it returns true, but I'm using logical not, returns false. So it's true and false. Result false. And basically this is it. How to add listeners in runtime. And another thing, the logical operator is going to be ignored for the first condition. Since it's the first condition, you don't need logical operator. And also you can add events in the inspector like this. Let's see. Let's see. Test string false equals false and test string true. Now this becomes the second operand since this becomes the first. So basically I'm doing test string false, checking if it's equals to false. Test string false like this. And by default, since there are no logical operator being informed, it's conditional logical AND. And for this I'm doing test string true equals true. So basically the result of this if statement is going to be true. So let's check. Now I'm going to trigger these events. Test string true returns false, returns true. Why is it returns false? Oh, sorry. It's just a typo in here. There you go. Let's just put this again. And there you go. Test string false, which is right here being called first, and test string true, which is right here. The result's going to be true, like this. And basically this is it. This is conditional events. I hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment below if you wanna have a doubt or anything, have a question, and bye.